All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. All three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I am going to be reviewing Darkdawn, book number 3 in Jay Kristoff's Nevernight trilogy, which started with book 1, simply titled Nevernight, then book 2, God's Grave. Now, if you want to watch my review of Nevernight first, because this is book 1, just type in Nevernight, my last name, type those 2 words into your YouTube search bar, and the video review will magically appear upon your screen. Same with God's Grave, book number 2. So, but we're to book number 3 now, so let's talk about the covers first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. Now this has got another dynamite cover painting by the illustrator Jason Chan, who did the cover of book 1 and the cover of book 2. And you put the books together on the shelf, and they look dynamite. They look like they all belong together on the shelf. And so we got to give an A+ rating to the publisher and the illustrator just for that. Now there's some cool maps in here too. Each of the books have some oh, by the way, I've got signed copies. I always show off my signed copies. There's some cool maps in here too. There's a lot of maps, and they are really well done. Great artwork all throughout. That just keeps going. There's more and more and more. Just beautiful books to have on your shelf. And Jay Kristoff is one of, well, he's probably my favorite new fantasy author of the last little while. I just think his writing is bold, and it's daring, and it's controversial, and I absolutely love everything about his prose and his wit and his style. It's just right up my alley. And Empire of the Vampire is a pretty damn cool book itself, which I reviewed. Just everything that I've read of his has been 100% spectacular dynamite. I love all of it. So what are these books about? Well, we're to book 3, so where do you start? I can't really spoil books 1 and 2. But this book takes place right after, literally seconds after, book 2 ends. And I called book 2 probably the best second book in a fantasy series ever. That's how much I loved book 2. And book 1 was dope all on its own. And book 3, I like book 1 and 2 better than book 3, but that doesn't mean that book 3 sucks. No, book 3 is still going to get a very, 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 very high ranking from me. So, our main character, Mia Corvare, and I think it's Corvare, Corvare, Mia Corvare, or Mia Corvare. She's an assassin of the Red Church. She's also a gladiator. She's been on an 8-year... She's been pursuing an 8-year vendetta against those that killed her family. That's the setup for this book. Now, her brother Jonan, or is it her brother? Is he alive or dead? That is the question. He's presumed dead, but what's going on? Now, there's other characters, Ashlyn, who's also a Red Church assassin, and Mia's current lover. Trick, Mia's former lover. Drusilla, Lady of the Blades, the deadliest Red Church assassin of all time, despite her being a little bit elderly in age. And Mr. Kindly, Mia's familiar, who takes the shape of a cat. All of these characters, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many cool characters in this book, moving in and out of the plot and the adventure of Mia Corvare as she is still on her journey of vengeance. It is just absolutely spectacular. And the writing is crisp, it's witty, and makes you laugh. And I know Jay Kristoff takes when I look at reviews of the negative reviews of this book, it's always kind of like, oh, the writing is trying to be too clever. The writing is just over the top. I appreciate that. I like it when an author goes to that extra length to just make his writing something unique. And if you're going to if you're swinging for a home run with every sentence, and maybe you don't get a home run on every sentence, but by God, I appreciate the effort. And man, Jay Kristoff puts in some effort into these books, and it pays off for me. It's my taste, and it's the taste of a lot of people, pretty much. I'm going to read the little brief jacket description here because it does a really good job of summarizing this novel without spoiling the other two novels. The epic conclusion to the internationally best-selling Nevernight Chronicles. The greatest games in God's grave history have ended with the most audacious murder in the history of the Republic. Mia Corvere, gladiator, escaped slave and infamous assassin, is on the run, pursued by blades of the Red Church and soldiers of the Illuminati Legion. She may never escape the city of bridges and bones alive. Her mentor, Mercurio, is now in the clutches of her enemies. Her own family even wishes her dead, and her nemesis, Consul Julius Scavia, stands but a breath from total dominance over the Republic. But beneath the city, a dark secret awaits. Together with her lover Ashlyn, brother Jonan, and mysterious benefactor returned from the Vale of Death, she must undertake a perilous journey across the Republic, seeking the final answer to the riddle of her life. True dark approaches. Night is falling on the Republic for perhaps the final time. Can Mia survive a world where even daylight must die? That's why it's called Nevernight. It's because it's always daylight. I've lived in Fairbanks, Alaska, where it's always daylight in the summer. I mean, it's just like 24 hours of light. And then I've also lived in Fairbanks, Alaska in the winter, where it's 24 hours of dark. But anyway, one of my favorite series of all time, these Nevernight Chronicles. It's leapt into these books have launched themselves probably into my top 10 favorite fantasies of all time. One of these days, maybe I'll redo my top 10 fantasy books list from 4 years ago, and because I don't think these were on the list. But anyway, whatever. What do I give? Oh, this was a 10 out of 10. Book 2 is a 10 out of 10. And even though I didn't like book 3 as much as the first two books, it is still a 10 out of 10.